Hello. Now that you've configured the LT Auditor Syslog Server, you'll now be able to set up the rules. In this video tutorial, we will go over creating an operation and adding a device with JSON token-based parsing. Prior to adding a new device for creating rules, first get the device to send messages to the LT Auditor Syslog Server. Viewing the target event log will confirm that messages are being received. Note, however, if messages from multiple devices are being received, use the option log messages with custom event IDs based on content, to only log data based on the IP address of the new device. Once this has been configured, clear the target event log and generate new syslog messages from the device. The target event log will now be populated with new messages from this new device, providing a dataset that can be used to create new rules. Now we can get to adding a new device. This will require two sets of actions. First, we need to go into our devices area and click Add. The first step is giving the name of our device. This is the device model that will be sending syslog messages. We're going to be using an XDAS device, however, for right now, we need to make sure that the XDAS device is a different name from our other ones, so I'm just going to call this one XDAS2 for right now. Next up is the device IP address. The IP address here is for all devices of the same model that will be sending messages to LT Auditor Syslog Server. Hence, multiple IP addresses can be entered separated by a comma. For right now, we're going to be using one IP address, that being the local machine. So we're going to enter an asterisk in here. Next is the operation category. This is the category of all operations that will be created to enable parsing of messages from this device. This is required for reporting in LT Auditor Plus. This category of operations is also XDAS. In the field default event ID, once selected, the number you put in here will be the ID for all events from this device unless otherwise specified in operations. If we were to set this to 48,000, then all operations from this, unless otherwise specified, will be 48,000. And by default, ones you specify will increment based off of this value. So the first operation we would create for this will be event 48,001. Now we need to get data from the events sent by this machine. So go down to this field and click the Get Data button. And we're looking for a very particular set of data. You can generally use whatever data you want, but we're just going to be using a delete trust event in particular. Now that we have our data, we need to convert it to JSON and parse the message. In this field, we do not need to enter any data or select any of these checkboxes for this to work with JSON token-based parsing. However, for ease of use, we would want to make sure that the process name is XDAS. If left unchecked, the process name would simply be blank. If date and time are left unchecked, it is simply made to be the date and time of the machine receiving syslog messages. Host name, if left unchecked, will default to the IP address. And message left unchecked in position-based parsing would give some undefined behavior. However, for JSON token-based parsing, leaving it blank is okay. So now that we have all the data we need, we can select OK. However, I already have an XDAS device created, so I'm going to be hitting cancel. But once you're done creating your new device, select OK and it'll show up. As you can see, we have this XDAS device. We have whether values are enabled, whether the field name is a token, or custom, or a key value pair, or even a position. These are our default device settings. Now that we have our device selected, we can create an operation. So I'm going to click Add Operation here. I'm going to find, first before you add your operation, you want to find the event that you're going to base this data off of. So I'm going to once again look for this delete trust event. And now that I have this delete trust event, first I need to give the operation a name. This operation is going to be called delete trust. Also important is I'm going to call this event 39,002 because it's related to the other event of the same ID number. But as you saw before, it was 39,008 showing how the default event ID increments. Now I'm going, for search to identify operation, find any string as part of the event that is unique to it and copy it into this search to identify operation. Any secondary ways to identify this, please enter that into the additional search to identify operation fields. Now that we have all of this data up here filled in, we can parse this message, and we're going to be selecting a few fields. You want to fill in as much information as possible. I'm going to be filling in user, node, class 1, UDF1, domain, and object 1. User is going to be initiator account name. We just drag and drop. Also, before I forget, make sure you change all of these position default drop-down menus into JSON token. For node, we have initiator entity sysaddress. We just drag and drop that in. For class 1, we have target data class name. We just drag and drop that in. UDF1, we have observer entity sysname. Drop that in. For domain, we have observer account domain. We'll just drop that in. And for object 1, we have target data name. We'll just drop that in. Now that we have all of our data dragged and dropped, and we make sure to double check that these are the correct type of parsing, we can select OK. And when we select our device and scroll down, you can see we have our delete trust right here. Now we need to make sure that this is working with our event log viewer and it's defining these events correctly. So I'm going to really quick generate some dummy event data, refresh my event log, and go look for our event ID. And as you can see right here, we have event 39,002. And this is giving us our delete trust. Now that we have this working, we need to head into LT Auditor Plus Management Console in order to be able to get this set up for reporting. So open up LT Auditor Plus Management Console, go to Options, Syslog Rule, Master Settings, and Operation. In here, you want to enter the event ID, the description, which is the name you gave your operation, and the operation category you gave your operation in LT Auditor Plus Syslog Server. As you can see, we already have a version of our event in here. This is a larger delete object event that includes our delete trust and delete object or delete account events. This does give you a nice model of how to enter in your information. So now that we have our event, our operation entered, we need to go into our domain, manager, audit subsystems, and syslog device auditing. In here, we will create a new filter statement. We will name this XDAS. And we need to include the operations we want. We really only want our delete object operation. So just check that and select OK. Now that we have our operation and filter statement added to LT Auditor Plus Management Console, we can go in to LT Auditor Plus Reporting Console. And we can generate our report based on the categories. And as you can see, we have our objects deleted. This is our e-directory auditing related report for some old data. However, if we generated some dummy data, we'd simply have to wait for it to roll up, and it would give us this reporting data for the current date and time. As you can see, this report is quite easy to read. We can understand the date and time, user, what they did to what object, and the observer entity as well. Thank you for watching this video tutorial. You can find more information about LT Auditor Plus Syslog Server, LT Auditor Plus Management Console, and LT Auditor Plus Reporting Console on the bluelance.com product page for Syslog Server and the other video tutorials as well. Thank you.